Hey, Mr. P here, and this is our very first science video. Now, today we're going to be talking about something that we already introduced in class, and it's not really anything science related, but it's talking about your science notebook. Now, let's go through exactly why we have an interactive notebook in the first place. Now, my reasoning why we have an interactive notebook is for lots of things. The first thing is to stay organized. Now, as we're going throughout the school year, it's really easy to get bogged down in everything that's going around and our notes to get all jumbled up. But this is supposed to keep us organized and on task so that we get everything that we need to get done. Two, it's a good way of getting down notes. It's a way that we can understand notes better. Instead of having to take classic kind of writing it down off of the board, this is a different way for us to use our hands, cut some paper out, draw, use our markers. It's just a different way that we can do it. And the last reason is that it helps us learn a lot. It's going to be something that I want you to cherish. I want you to keep your science notebook for years on end. It's something that if you spend a lot of work on, hopefully you can take this and use this as you go into middle school and as you go into high school. Enough about why we have the science notebook or the science interactive notebook. Now let's look exactly at this interactive notebook. So what you'll notice is that when I open up my interactive notebook, my first page is dedicated to my science notebook. Now, Mr. Paulson's isn't colored in yet, but it will be colored in eventually. And this is the part where you put your name, you can color it in, you can make it, you don't even have to use this template that I use right here, but what you could do is you could just make this page your own. You could draw something that's about you, familiar to you. Special about you. We want you to keep this science notebook and we want you to make it important to you. So making sure that you put your own ownership behind it is really important for us. Now, as you open up, you'll notice that the science notebook has a rubric. Now, this is the rubric that we should follow, and we kind of introduced this in class today, but a rubric that we all should follow when we're doing science notes. So, if you'll notice over here, it says all pages need to be numbered, neat table of contents, titles, and dates included, all required notes, labs, activities, folds up, and vocabulary activities complete. This is just describing the point value. So, if you did a really good job, you did everything right, you completed everything, and it's really cool and exciting, you'll get a 4. If you just did most of it, 75% of the stuff is numbered and it's neat, and you'll get a 3. If you didn't do much of it, or you did very little but you still did some, you'll get a 2. And then if you didn't do very much at all, like you just didn't even put anything in there, you'll get a 1. And then if your notebook is missing, you get a 0. Now, this is really important because Mr. Paulson's going to be constantly checking your notebook. You have a notebook grade. Every week you'll have a notebook grade. So if I come through and look at your notebook and I say, hey, look at your notebook. You have really deep details. You have really nice notes. You've colored in some stuff. I'll automatically give you a 4 just by looking at it. But if I notice that there's some stuff that's missing or that you haven't completed some stuff, I'll probably knock you down to a 3. Now, if you haven't done anything or very, very little, that's where you get in that 2, 1, and possibly 0 category. So make sure that you're keeping up on your notebook throughout the school year, making sure that you want to get those kind of like, I almost call them free points when you're coming to assignments, right? They're free points. If you just do your work, you get these free points and they just add up to make your grade a nice A+. Now over here, and it's kind of hard to see, but over here I have the table of contents. Now what you'll notice is that Mr. Paulson's table of contents is already filled up because I've already started putting in stuff for the upcoming school year. Now this is where you can go and you can see where specifically something that you are looking for is. So for example, if you're getting ready for test time and you don't remember what a hypothesis is, you could go turn to page 3 or 4 to find out what a hypothesis is. Or maybe you just need a refresher on the scientific method. So you can turn to page 1 and look at the scientific method. This very first unit that we're doing in science is going to be a unit that you're going to be using throughout the school year. So making sure that you keep up on this will be very helpful. So when, for example, if you forgot some stuff on the scientific method, you can go back and look at it. Now, these are the first few pages are just put in for the scientific method. All right. And what you'll notice is that these first couple pages here are pages that are helpful for you, stuff that you can go back to look at to help you out when you're working on your notebook yourself. Okay. The last page that I have in here, and the last page I'm going to talk about is who is Mr. P. That is going to be, and it's not going to be you talking about me, but it's going to be you talking about you, right? This is who is Mr. P. This is my page to describe who I am, to tell people who I am. And I can use that with pictures, I can use it with words, I can even maybe grab a photo that I've had before and cut it out and put it in here. This is just a page to describe who you are. I want to know who you are. What are your interests? What are your hobbies? What do you like to do? That's what you're going to put on this page. Remember, we're all about making this notebook ours, right? This is our notebook. We want to keep this notebook. We want to make it important to us. So making sure that you complete all of the pages is extremely important. What you'll notice is after this page, all right, I start actually getting into my notes. And this is kind of the cool part of the interactive notebook, is that there's a lot of flip things, there's a lot of different pages that we can use throughout it that we can go back and look at throughout the years. All right, that's all that I have for you today with the interactive notebook. Make sure that you are getting your interactive notebook started. You have the cutout pages. If you didn't finish cutting out all of the pages in class, that's kind of your homework assignment. Cut out the pages, glue them. If you need a refresher, you can always rewind this video to figure out what exactly you need and where those pages need to go. That's all from Mr. P. Science is awesome, and so are you. See ya.